Hey, Ella.
Hi, RC.
It's funny how 2 hours can pass so quickly, you know?
I
Kind of crazy.
know, right?
It
I
is kind of
know.
crazy. So we had a great first session. Welcome to everyone back. If you're new here, I'm RC Helix. I'm the creator of Flux Destiny and Flux Fantasy, and I've got my right hand here, Ella, with me. And
I'm ready to go.
we're halfway through. We're in session two of day two of the training arc. So welcome all my
That's
artists. And
crazy.
you know, Ella said something early yesterday that I really liked, and I want to say, I want to kind of, I think it bears repeating, is that
Mm,
what separates an artist from everyone else is someone who actually does it, right? Who actually like picks up a pen. So you really, the minute you have like the bravery to just pick up the pen and just draw, it doesn't matter. Like, don't get all caught up with like, oh, I gotta be, perfect and whatever. Just have fun, and that's where the best work comes out is when you're actually having a good time and drawing and the only way you get better is you have to be willing to suck, right? And
mm,
and that means like don't get caught up with like, oh, what does everyone think about my art? Like that delayed my growth for a long time, was that attitude.
hmm.
And so I hope you guys like learn to just like chill out and have a good time with us. And today we've got some fun things we're going to be doing on this mid session. We're going to be doing hair, which is a lot of fun. I, I'm doing it as a gift because you're supposed to learn the meat and potato stuff first, but we're gonna do hair because it's the icing on the cake, and we're doing it. It's fun, and you guys
Hmm.
deserve some fun. So we're gonna do that and have a good time. Um, our server is open if you're new here and you want to join our community. It's open. We usually open it during events. Otherwise, you have to join a Patreon tier or get one of our products to join. So right now is a great time to join our community. We have a really awesome community. Um, we work really hard to keep it that way, and so we'd love for you to join us if you want to make some friends, share your OCs, learn the Flux Destiny, Flux Fantasy universe. It's a really great place to be. Ella, I can let you take over for a little bit before we get started.
Yeah, so we've got lots of events going on. We're even launching our Kickstarter tomorrow for our OC journal, which we have made in mind with all of our OC artists here and people who are creating. So we have our own RPG and our own manga, but then we decided to make an OC journal that kind of can be used for everything, not only our universe and our cool stuff, but for any OC that you have. So we're launching that tomorrow, and I'll put the link here in the description if you want to check it out. We've it's launching tomorrow morning, so tonight is the last minute touches and everything like that. And if you're new, we've got a lot of new friends this week already, so jump in, say hi. We're all about manga, Flux Destiny, lore, world building, and then especially OCs. And so if you're interested in how any of that works, you can join our Patreon. Even on the free tier, we have fun events that we do. And there you can also get our base that we're working with today, which we're going to be using for hair. This is one of our protagonists who's been uh, shaved back down into nothing. And so we're going to be learning how to do hair. But you can also find this based on our Discord. And we do lots of cool stuff like this pretty often. So I hope that you'll consider joining and checking stuff out. So,
Yeah, so go jump into the Discord. Now's the time to do it. There's a lot of people you see in the comments and stuff. These are people who are fans and family of this community and really awesome. And you're going to make a lot of great friends in there and have a lot of fun role playing. We have role playing rooms in our server too, where people really get to flex their characters and have a great time. So I hope you guys enjoy doing that. Okay, so time for the fun stuff. We're gonna draw hair today. I'm gonna teach you guys how to draw hair and demystify hair. Right? Everyone's like
mm,
demystify. That's kind of the big thing because everyone's like, oh, it's so. But really, if you were attending our sessions yesterday and learning about like when I was talking about breaking things down into shapes, like making
mm-hmm,
everything low res, right? Like get to the most low res possible. Starting from that standpoint, things aren't as scary as they seem, right? Like when you see me drawing Hugo with his like flowy, dramatic hair, sometimes it's I've already kind of broken his hair down into shapes, and then all that stuff that I add on top is just the icing on the cake of the hair, right? So, all right, so if you want to follow along, make sure to have the little model that Ella shared with you earlier, or you can just draw it from scratch. You don't have to use my models, but it just makes it easier because it's already there. All right, so I'm going to switch over to our drawing view. Can you guys see me? Can you see me, Ella? I mean, can you see the screen?
Not yet, but
Oh,
I
okay.
will. I'm
All right,
sure.
I'm sure you guys can see it. Let me know if you can see the screen. Okay. Oh, hold on.
Yes, I can see it.
My pen is kind of screwing up. One second. I gotta just do something here real quick. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the anatomy of the human hairline, according to me, and it's going
Mm-hmm.
to help you establish things. Because listen, you're not going to build anything. I think a lot of problems that people have is that they try to draw hair without any basis for anything. They just like draw it like it's a hat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the best stuff, the best hair that you can draw is that it has to be what do you call it? Grounded, right? So let's first like examine. Whenever I draw a head, I always work on, and you can try if you've got the models open, you guys can follow along with me. But there are a couple things about the human hairline that we need to pay attention. And generally, there's some similarities between male and female hairlines, but it changes. And this is why we were talking earlier about like the difference between if you really understand human anatomy and understand the nuances of anatomy and aging. Remember we were talking about the
Mm-hmm.
ears and the ears, how they like over time, how they age and can change and look different. If you get these nuances, your character designs will be better, right? You don't want to use the same rules all the time. So when I talk about human hair having a certain behavioral pattern over the lifespan of a character, take that seriously because that means it will affect the way you draw the character. Obviously, here we have like a teenage character. I'm using the space, but I will show you how that will change over time. So generally, when you have a the hairline of a character, hold on, can take all forms, right? But we've got like this main hairline here, and the hairline itself up here can take different shapes. Some people have widow's peaks. Some people, it just goes straight across. But generally, the
Mm-hmm.
younger the character, the more intact the more forward their hairline is. And you don't want the hairline to
Mm-hmm.
go too much forward. The more forward, this is like, remember we were talking when Lauren made the comment about the more heads, the more realistic the character is. There's a similar
Mm-hmm.
spectrum with the hair, is that the hair, the more back it goes, the older the character will look, for
Mm-hmm.
obvious reasons. And the more down you go this way, the more caveman they're going to look, right?
Mm.
So you don't want the hairline to go too far down in the front because they will start like, watch, if I erase this hairline and I start making it go lower, see what I'm talking about? It just doesn't, you need a proper forehead. Otherwise, now if you want to make a character look like a blockhead or something, like okay, this character is, you want to signal that a character is um I don't know, like caveman like,
Mm-hmm.
lower their hairline. That will make, especially with male characters, that will make a difference. You want a
Mm-hmm.
big dumb jock character, you want to make them look dumber, drop their hairline, right?
Interesting. I
Yeah.
never. I always thought about that in the like eyes and eyebrows, but I never thought about that in their hair. Like not just their hair, but like where their hair sits. So that's very interesting.
See, all these little tricks on things I'm teaching, these are not tricks, these are nuances, right? These are
Mm-hmm.
nuances. This is the same thing I was talking about yesterday about going into the city, like flying over a city versus walking through the city streets. If you get these things, when you add these details, and we all have a library of these details, whether you're an artist or not, that are a visual language, right? The position of
Yes.
the hairline is a visual language that even if you're not an artist, you subconsciously know, right? You guys who are
Yeah.
here who are learning are now bringing that knowledge to the forefront. You're like, now you'll look at people differently, and right, you'll look at their characters differently and look at hairlines and things differently. So another thing to note is that generally, and I'm saying generally, okay, with male and female characters, male characters generally have what's it called? Um, why is my brain what's this called? Sideburns, right?
Mm.
Because generally male characters will grow beards. So with girls, usually it ends about right here where the ear is. It doesn't, that's not
Mm.
exclusive. It can keep going down, but generally at where the ear ends, for girls, the hairline ends there. And
Mhm.
the reason that's important is that if you start adding sideburn kind of, and I mean sideburns, I'm not talking about, this is not a sideburn, right? Hair that's kind of like, that's not a sideburn. That's hair coming down, right? A sideburn is hair that's like this, like cut skin, like part of the facial skin, right? That's different.
Mhm.
That's a sideburn. That's more exclusive to male characters. And if you're finding that your characters might be looking more masculine than feminine, one thing you can adjust is working with the with the sideburn to make sure that it goes away, right? And clipping it.
Mhm.
Because otherwise it's again visual language more for male characters. Going back to the hairline here real quick. Um, we have a couple of components, right? We've got the hairline right here, which is the main hairline. We've got this line here, which is if your character has an undercut like Hugo, you can raise it, higher or lower, but that's usually like there's an undercut line that goes there. And then if you're looking here on the back of the character's head, there's like the crown of the head, which is important. And it's important for a couple of different reasons. It's important for characters of both genders for two reasons. One, aesthetically for like male and female characters, this up here, the crown of the head, when you're designing, you can do all sorts of things like, um, for example, Marco's hair, for example, kind of sprouts from the crown of his head and comes forward like this, and it's an
Mhm.
anchor point,
Mhm.
right? So it's an anchor point. Now, as a going back to the differences, biological differences, and how typically male or female characters work, um, with male pattern baldness, for example, and this is something you should know about because if you're going to make older characters, right, older male characters in particular, male pattern baldness has different characteristics, right? Balding at the crown, at the temples, knowing where those meet. It's so important to know those things because you're like, why is he talking about baldness, about hair? Because hair, whether you have it or not, is part of the hair design of a character, right? If you're
Mm.
designing an
Mhm.
older middle-aged character who's has thinning hair, if you understand how male pattern baldness works and you want them to have that characteristic, obviously not all characters who are male lose their hair at that point, but if they do, you can do it realistically, right? And that adds a level of realism to your design that um, gives it authenticity, right? Is that people
Yeah.
know intrinsically, they recognize that it's a visual cue. Oh, this character is thinning hair. They are middle aged or older, right? And it's a visual cue that, and sometimes it can also be symbolic. When you use balding in that case, it can emphasize wisdom, stress, age. There's all sorts of like symbolism that is evoked by um, balding, right? That's just kind of how that works. Um, and the balding can also occur here uh, on the temples. As male characters get older, the temples kind of recede right here a bit, and so that's something that can happen. Again, it's a general. It's not like an exclusive rule. It's just kind of generally what happens. Okay. So, anyways, I wanted to cover that. You're like, why are we? The balding is just as important as the hair itself, right? So I wanted to kind of cover
Mhm.
that before we went any further. So when we have these regions right here, so you can kind of see these regions that I've outlined here. We've got we've got the the sides of the head, which is if the character has an undercut, would normally be shaved. Here's that line where the undercut line is I showed earlier. Here's the kind of like bang area of your hair. This is like where the hair sprouts bangs up here in the front. That's here. And then you've got the crown, right? And that's the same here. You got the crown. Here's the back view, and you can see the crown of the character here. So why am I talking about hairlines and stuff? Again, you need a place to anchor the hair, right? If you're treating hair like a hat when you draw it, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And like, it's rare that I'm like, remember, I always talk about things being guidelines. It's wrong. You have to anchor it to something, right? Hair doesn't float on your head unless you're wearing a toupee, right? Like it's got to be, right? It's got to be like anchored to your head. And so you have to have a basis for construction. And so that's why I'm going to like be super, strict about that. Is like know where the hairline is. And again, the hairline can take all sorts of different shapes. So now that we understand where the hairline, and any questions, Ella, before I move forward on that? Do you have any questions or see any questions that I should
No.
answer? Okay.
No, it makes sense. I think a lot about you were talking about shapes and structures and stuff, and I was thinking about like PS2 characters. You know how they're what we call it in the animation industry like low poly. I'm sure you guys
Right.
have heard that phrase before. And the truth is because it's just shapes, and then the things that are more complicated, like many of you might not work in the animation industry, but in the animation industry, the more polys something has, it just means the more shapes it has, just the more triangles it's made up of. So when I think about something like hair or faces or things like that, that's what I think of, especially hair, because it's just more triangles than usual. So it's like somebody's hair could just be one triangle, and it's
It's
like,
true.
okay,
Yeah.
that's their low poly hair, or something like that. So you're right. It's just all about connecting those triangles in the right place to make it look like something.
That's
Because
right.
we're gonna like see it as humans and be like, oh yeah, that's hair.
So with that being said, now that we have kind of an anchoring point, now we need to know like what to do with it. So I have a couple of resources here. These are not my references. These are just kind of cool references I found here to show you how hair, once you've established the foundation of the hair, which is the hairline, how hair kind of flows off the head. And so if you think of hair like water, that's kind of how I look at it. Think of hair like water. It's like if you're looking, I love this particular example here because this is a really good one right here, where you've seen that there's an establishment of the hairline. So let me draw here. So in this right here, we see the hairline has been established. And then we see here the part has been established, right? So hairline is this right here. Let me change to a different color. Change to green. I don't know if, well, no, red might have been better. Sorry, I wanted it to stand out. Let me make it purple, I guess. Okay, so we've established here the hairline and the part, right? And look at each of these examples. And if we look at these as columns, here's like column A, B, and C. So we've got column A here, we got column B, and we got column C. And once the hairline has been, so the first thing you do is you establish the hairline and then you establish where the part is. Now, sometimes the characters don't have a part. Like, let's say they have like an afro or like just really big, curly, puffy hair. The part isn't as important in those cases unless you're parting it, right? Sometimes it will part. If you want to do that, that's fine. But if the character just has like a big bushy hair, sometimes you don't need to worry about that. But I want you to notice that using the same base and the same hairline and moving the part, what that will do to the hair, right? So we've got A, B, and C. We've got on column A, we've got a part in the middle. On column B, we've got this part on the side here. And then column C, we kind of have this zigzag part, right? So when we move down from row 1 to row 2, we can see here that using the water analogy, look how from the hairline, we then pick which way the hair flows, right? So it's anchored from the hairline, and now we're drawing the direction of the hair. So if you notice these arrows here, in this particular case on column A, we've got right here in the middle, and then we've got the hair flowing out from it in all these directions. Column B, same. And column C, the same. And then finally, when we get to the result of that, now there's a kind of a skip step here, and I'm going to actually do that step so you can see it, because it's one of these examples that goes from like, oh, the hair needs to flow, and then suddenly it's like this beautiful hair, right? Like I need to show you the in between of how to get there, but I will show
There
you
are
that
some
because,
shapes missing,
yeah, there
I
are shapes
think.
missing to this. So I will show you what that is, but I want to just show you kind of the result, right, of this as we go through. And let's examine, now that we've seen the result, let's look at the shapes. If we break this down into shapes, I can find a few different shapes here. I can find this shape right here, this shape, and this kind of dome shape here. In this version, I find kind of this shape right here. There's a shape here. And then even
The
in this,
arrows too are kind of showing the shape a little bit,
they
because you can
are,
see
yeah.
they're kind of, flowing out a certain way.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we've got a shape here. We've got a shape here, 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 here. So understanding the shape. So the way I would do it is, this would be step 3, would be determining your shapes of your hair, right? You do step 1 is establish the hairline and the part. Step 2 is decide where you want the hair to, how you want the hair to flow. And then step 3, because you could do something. So even though right here, you see this, we're looking at this one again, where the hair was kind of like flowing down the middle. The hair doesn't have to flow that way. You can part it and go back, right? If you want to have like here, like notice this, like I'm drawing, you can have it part down the middle and flow back if you want it, right? There's all sorts of different things that you can do with it. So that's just kind of important to keep in mind. So when we look at some of these other hair, look at these here, these examples. Again, these are not my examples. This is just stuff from my references. You can see here, for example, in this guy, his hair is originating from the crown and going forward. The hair is moving in this direction, right? It's back to the front, and then waving up. And this is actually the fun part. I actually get a lot of like, I find it really fun to like, sometimes even when I'm brushing my own hair, I'll do the whole like, oh, this is your anchor point. Like, I'm insane. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of
No, that's
crazy.
I've started to do that too.
Have you? Okay.
I've started, in fact, I've started to look at people and be like, triangle nose,
Yes, good.
circle nose.
That is
And then
perfect.
now I feel cursed. So thank
Say
you very
that
much.
that means you have now stepped into a new level of consciousness. It's going to help you a lot with your own skills. Another quick view here from the back. You see this point here where the character's crown is of his head. You can see how the hair originates and moves forward like this, right? So with that being said, let's go back to Bro over here, and we're going to start playing with some hair designs. Actually, let me work with the template since you guys are working with this. So we're going to start using the techniques that I was just talking about. And so let's play with some different hairstyles. So let's just start with something simple. I'm going to take this guy's hair. I'm going to establish his hairline, which normally if I were to have planned this out here. Oops. Okay, we've got his hairline here. And now let's start playing with some design. So let's say I want to just do one of those simple hairstyles where it's like basically parted right here at this line and it's flowing this way, right? Well, the simple thing to do in this particular case is I just draw hair flopping over this way. Just draw a big shape. We draw another shape this way. And then we start building in the details, right? So you notice how I picked the origin, the part, and I just pulled it over, right? So now I have kind of this hair that's flopping over, and now I have kind of these boundaries to work in. I drew this other shape here. So now as I'm going in there to start drawing the details, I can start filling in more details as part of it because I have that foundation for it. Let's say I wanted to add some more down here, like some hair down here. I can do that. If I wanted to give him something like, let's say we wanted to do like Edward Elric hair, which is kind of fun. He's got these, his is really fun and easy actually because his hair is really in 3 parts. He's got this, what I would call like Dorito hair. It's kind of what I call it. And so his hair parts right at the widow's peak, right? Or right at the peak of the hair. And he's got kind of these big Doritos like this. So if we draw the Dorito shapes like this. Then he's got the dome because his hair is kind of pulled back into a braid. So it follows the hair like this. And then he's got the braid down here, right? And I can just draw a general shape. So now when I draw over that and we start developing his hair. Oh, sorry. Lost the screen here. Hold on 1 sec. Okay. I accidentally clicked the wrong thing and it screwed up. Okay, so now that we... Why is it doing that? Now that we have this basis, so we have these like shapes, we can go in and start working on it. Well, now I know where his hair is, so I can start carving out from this. His hair, so I can add the details into this space. Now the hair is moving back because it's pulled back into a braid. Now here's important actually. His braid is down here, right? His braid is down here. So that means the hair needs to focus down into that space, right? So when you're drawing the hair being pulled back, you can actually go back to front if you want, right? So that it matches the point of where the hair is tied into a braid. You see? And then we got Ed's hair. All carved out of these Dorito pieces.
So I have a question. When you're first starting out and you're drawing hair, do you think it's more beneficial to draw like realistic hair or anime hair, or does it even matter? Like, what would be like? Would you suggest like, oh, like do more real hair and then exaggerate it, or just start with whatever you
It
like?
you have to start. They are not they're not separate things. If you want to draw realistic hair, you have to learn how to draw simple hair first. And because the shapes
Yeah.
are the basis of everything, right? So whether you want to
Right.
draw anime, whatever, or whether you want to draw realistic hair, even if I was drawing a portrait of someone and I had to draw like super realistic, I would still group their hair, right? Like you, if I saw your face right now, I could break your hair down into, like right now, your hair is in 2 shapes, right? You've got
Yeah.
2, you part down the middle and you've got these 2 shapes on the side, right? I would start by forming the basis of those shapes first. Like if I were to use this model right here and draw your hair, this is what I would do. I would say, okay, Ella parts her hair down the middle, and then she's got these 2 shapes that do this. Right? See that? And then knowing this, now I can start adding the details because your hair doesn't, your hair like goes like what, right here up to your ears. Is that right? Like, and then it kind of gets longer in the back, right? So knowing
Yeah.
that, I know that these little hairs here will go this back, and then in the back it kind of gets longer, and then here we go the same. And I know that I can actually should cut this part off because your hair is not that long in the front, so it should be like this. And then it gets longer as it goes back. See? So I identified your hair in 2 shapes, and then I broke it down based on that. Now, if we want to start doing things that
Cool.
are more, now here's where it starts getting fun, especially when you're working with. I'm going to switch to this model for a second. I think. No, I guess we'll stick with it with your model, so you guys can with my model, so you can. Anyway, so the cool thing is, like, let's say we want to do some other stuff. Like, let's think of shapes that are more like kind of. I don't want to use the word crazy, but like more like unique hair shapes. Like, let's say we wanted to play
I keep
with.
seeing faux hawk in the
It's coming.
comments.
The faux hawk's coming. The faux hawk's coming. That's literally what
All
I'm
the
gonna do.
mohawk and faux hawk stuff. Yeah.
Faux hawk, mohawk is coming. Faux hawk is coming. We'll start with the faux hawk, and then we'll go to mohawk, and then we're gonna do bowl cut, right? Which I love drawing the bowl
Okay.
cut.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Bowl
Yeah.
cut is just fun to draw, and I'll show you how to do that.
Mhm.
So let's look at this. We're gonna say we're gonna take we're gonna draw. Actually, do I need to move to this other one? I need to move to this other one because it's just I need you to see a certain detail that this one doesn't let you do. So just bear with me a second here. Okay, so with this model, because I wanted you to see the front and back of this,
Mhm.
we're gonna draw faux hawk. So faux hawk goes down the middle, right? So if we're looking at his hair from both sides here, we've got middle, it comes down the middle here. And then we know where his hairline is, right here. Now, faux hawks come in different shapes, like, right? There's faux hawks that go forward, there's ones that go back, but we're going to kind of do one that's small and kind of pushing forward. So with that, I know that I've got the hairline here, and I know that what I can do is I can take, notice how I went here to the tips of the temples right here.
Mhm.
I'm going to go from these tips to these temples, and I'm going to create a triangle shape like this. Like that. See that? Kind of looks like a tiara or something.
Mhm.
Right? And then we've got from here, what we'll start doing is now that we know the hairline, we know that the hair can start coming up like this. We'll start moving forward. So we can actually build shapes in like this, pushing from the back forward. See how I'm doing that?
Mhm.
Then we start building out the detail from the hairline up, hairline up, hairline up. And then you've got, and if I clean this up, if I took this, now that I have this kind of like rough drawing here of his hair, if I were to take that and just dim it and clean it up a little bit, now that I have a basis, I can clean it up. See, you got a tight little faux hawk there. That makes sense?
Yeah. It does.
Okay, so let's try something bigger now. Let's go to a full mohawk, which are a lot of
A
fun.
full one.
Full mohawk. So this is where you really start pulling out the shapes when we're doing it, right? So we're going to take his head, we're going to draw the track of where the faux hawk is going to go from, and we're going to give him a relatively thick one. So we've got, you see here, here's the hairline, right? And then we've got the track that his hair runs down here. And we're going to do the same in the back of his head too. We're going to go like this, run that track down the back of his head so we can see it. All right. Now that we've got the track, now what we're going to do is we're going to put the shape. Now the mohawks can take all sorts of shapes, but I'm going to draw kind of a general guide to this. I'm going to draw a line going up like this from both of these points. And then I'm going to draw the track. He kind of almost looks like a Roman helmet, you know, going down the back. Now notice it's going behind the head, right? Because all this area right here has to be shaved.
Yeah.
Right? So create this geometric shape. So now we've got this we've got this guideline, right, to work with. We've got this kind of like area. So this is step one, is kind of establishing the shape. This area over here is shaved too. Right? So we've got this area now. Now what do we do? It's like, okay, well, let's take this now and decide. All right, we're going to do, there's different types of faux hawks I'm going to show you. So I'm going to dim this. I'm going to dim
And
this.
it kind of looks cool as is anyway.
Yeah. And, oh, I forgot to put it in the back here. Hold on. So the back, this is what it would look like from the back. All right. See that? Big old lemon wedge. Okay. And Jimmy, yeah, it's the intimidation comes from, like, I just saw your comment. It's like it's just practice. You just got to play with it, and it just takes time, and you will get it. You'll eventually get it when you start thinking about hair in terms of hairlines and shapes. And a lot of people go straight to thinking about the end product. You can't think that way. Like, watch me do this mohawk, and you're going to see how we're going to go from this to like a finished mohawk, and you go, oh, I get it. All right, I see how it's going. So now we have this general guide, right? And I'm gonna take it to make the details of the hair. So I'm gonna do first a mohawk that's going backwards, right? That's like back, being pushed back. So to do that, going from, and there's multiple routes you can go. Actually, let me first do the Roman helmet one, and then I'll do the more furry. I don't mean furry like furries. I mean like fuzzy. Let me do that.
Yeah,
first.
clarify.
Yeah. So notice here, so I'm going to do the more Roman helmet looking one. And so what I'm going to do is, using this as the basis, I'm going to start carving out chunks of hair. And I'm going to go to the hairline. And I start doing this. You kind of want to do these at uneven intervals. You don't want them to be too even, because then it'll look too mechanical. Oops. Sorry, I screwed that up. Okay, see how it's starting to form? So now, well, what do we do with the front? Well, we have a couple options here in the front. If we want, we can just have it straight up like that. But what I would probably do is I would continue this forward a bit, and I would have it do this. Let's see, kind of like lean forward a bit like this. So adds a few more of these. We're going to continue this arc here like this. So that the hair is kind of like this in these kind of slices going forward. We add some detail. And then you've got your kind of Roman hair helmet style. How does that look?
It's very cool. I think we should require all ink fighters to have this hairstyle.
You know, that's the one regret I didn't do in college. I wish I would have had a mohawk once in my life. Just once in college, right? Just once.
You have time. You're still alive.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can pull off a mohawk anymore. But like, I don't think I should do it now. But I should have done it then. I wish I'd have done it once, just once. I had a faux hawk once in my life, but I didn't have a mohawk. Okay, so let's see it from the back. Same thing. We've got. Remember, I'm always referencing the hairline, pulling up, creating kind of these wedges that are uneven. You don't want to put them at even intervals, because then it'll look too unnatural. And then I carve them out.
I know this is kind of obvious, but it really is just shapes.
It is that exactly. It's just shapes. It's just thinking in three-dimensional shapes and carving them out. See, look at that. And it's fun too because when you work, the reason why it looks really good when you work from the shapes is that it's grounded. It feels like it has dimension, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
just, oh, I'm going to draw spiky hair. Like even spiky hair has dimension, right?
Yeah.
So, and here as I continue this guide forward, I'm going to just give him some more chunks here. See? So just working from the basis, and then obviously when you go do cleanup later, you'll make this, you'll clean it up, and it'll get all the details. But you can see that I formed a complete um, mohawk from a lemon wedge on his head. Right? I just put a
Mm-hmm.
wedge on his head and I start carving. Right? We learned yesterday that was the technical term for stone, right? Stone carving. So we're carving
Mm-hmm.
out mohawks. Now, if I take this same basis and we want to do more of a fuzzy mohawk, so going back to this, and let's say we want the fuzzy mohawk, we had his hair kind of evenly. Let's say we want to make it go forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have two options. Does it go forward all the way from the back to the front, or does it have a cutoff point in the head where it changes direction? I in this case, I'm going to do a two directional one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have the hair change kind of like right here on the head, kind of at the crown, which is a natural place to change the direction. And so I do this. I start pulling it forward. And notice how I'm using, I want you to notice how I'm using the kind of like faded guide in the back to help me contain the hair, right? Generally.
Mm-hmm.
So go forward. But I'm always referencing the hairline. Notice how I'm starting from the bottom, from the hairline. Right here, it's kind of faded, but I'm starting from the hairline and pulling forward. See? And then here, we're the point where we change direction. Now, we could stop here if we wanted. His mohawk could stop there. But if we wanted it to continue going into kind of like a mullet kind of thing, we would go from here and we'd change the direction. Now the hair starts moving this way, down the back of his head. See? And then all this here, remember the hairline is here, so all this is shaved. Sarah's shaved right here. And here's the back view. We'd go from here, and we know that his hair is going to change direction about right here at the crown, the back of the crown, and then we're going to start pulling forward. So I'm going to pull forward. And pull back. There we have his hair. And then if I clean this up a little bit, I'll show you what it looks like just slightly cleaned up. Is that making sense?
Yes.
So you notice I'm pulling these lines from the hairline. That's what makes it feel grounded. It doesn't, otherwise it'll feel like a toupee, right? Or a wig
Mm. Mm-hmm.
if it's sliding around. Same back here. See, so create a container for yourself it's kind of almost like coloring within the lines, you know, like create
Mm-hmm.
lines for yourself and then work within that. And we talked about proportion earlier. Hair has proportion too, right? Like if you're like, why is the hair so big? Well, establish a box that establishes the proportion first before you get too far, you know, is something that could
Yeah,
help.
because then you can see it if it's too big or not, or too
Exactly.
small.
Exactly. So the last thing we'll do is we'll do a quick, let's do a bowl cut. So Hugo's brother actually has a bowl cut in the story, and I think bowl cuts are a lot of fun to draw. My best friend, one of my best friends in high school, had a bowl cut for a long time, like way longer than he probably should have. And I take pride. I take pride in getting him in college. We were roommates, and I got him to get rid of the bowl cut, and he looks so much better.
Oh, good.
And he had the perfect bowl cut hair. Like I'm talking like perfect bowl cut. Like it worked really well. Okay, so let's say we want to give bro here a bowl cut. Well, bowl cuts usually sprout from the crown of the head, right, and forward
Mm-hmm.
like this. So using this particular model here, what I'm going to do is we're going to establish a point here, which is his crown. I'm going to pull up this way so we know kind of where it is, and then I'm going to create the dome. And by the way, the dome, the higher the point, the more like volume the hair has, right? So I'm gonna,
Mm-hmm.
so the higher you draw the bowl, the more volume it has. So we're gonna put a bowl here like this, and then we're gonna establish that it's gonna be kind of like this. You saw how I anchored it right to the top.
Mm-hmm.
So now we've got the bowl, right? And if you remember earlier, the example that I was using about hair, like hair being like water. So pretend it's a waterfall that's like a water fountain that's like originating from the crown here. And then I just start drawing these shapes from the crown, right? So like this. See? So we got this pattern here. So you see it starting to form?
Mm-hmm.
So now we've got the basis of the hair, right? We've got the basis, the framework to build the hair around. So I'm going to dim this a little bit and I'm going to start carving out from this framework his bowl cut. So we've got, oops. See, I'm turning these things kind of into these wedges of hair. The biggest mistake a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people make when they're, especially when they're drawing this kind of style, is they try to draw every hair. You don't draw every strand of hair. You draw them in clumps of hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more clumps that you can break the hair into, the easier it is to draw. But then within those clumps, then you put little details, right, about how that hair breaks apart. Like, so I've got these like big chunks here, but within these chunks, I'm going to draw little hair details like this. I'm going to draw a couple strands, right, just to highlight a bit
Mm-hmm.
at a time. And this kind of looks like Zenitsu from Demon Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you look at his hair is a bowl cut essentially. See, and now what I can do is I can go under this, and I did it again. Sorry. I can pull some white here, and let me thin out the back. Now I will hide these other details that you don't need to see. And look, there you got a bowl cut. And we can do the same with the back of his head. If we take the back of his head, remember here's the origin point. We go up, and then we create the dome. Oh, I made it super. Hold on. Gave him a lot of volume, a little too much volume. Hold on.
He's really anime.
Very anime. So we go from here. Create the dome. And same. Remember, waterfall. Think of a water fountain. Air, hair, coming down from here, down from here, here, here. And then we just go in and start carving up the hair a little bit, creating these little wedges, making the hair come from the top. You see how rough I'm drawing right now? Like, I'm just drawing roughly. I'm not worried about it being like beautiful, because later when I go and clean it up, it will look better, right? Like, I just need a basis to draw it, and then we can go and make it pretty. Because look, once I do that, we'll take this hair and I will start cleaning it up. But you notice how it's all originating from that crown there, because I established that as the point for that. And now we can go and we can fill in some white here so you can hide all these on this. Oops. Sorry, I'm trying to hide the head. So okay. Ah. See, and there you go.
Very cool.
So
you make bowl cuts look cool.
they're fun. They're definitely fun to draw. I wish they were. I think they can kind of be pulled off in real life with the right person. You know, I think can pull them off.
Yeah.
Like, I obviously,
not your friend, but somebody else.
Not me. If I showed up with a bowl cut, you should unsubscribe. But like, you know, but certain people can pull it off. It just is one of those things where it's like, you know, certain elements have to come together. So what did we learn, Ella? How was this lesson today on hair? What'd you pick up from this?
This was fun. Yeah, I really am. Even though hair is swoopy, it really is still just a shape. You know, it's not like, I don't know, like, you know, when you're a kid, you're just kind of like spikes, you know, and that's like the hairstyle. But the thing is that you can do that, but it originates in a shape, and then it makes it look good because you've got like the base there.
That's right.
So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, learning a lot for sure.
This is one of those things that I hope you guys take the you know, the lesson of always simplify things, break them into shapes, right? Look at another exercise you can do is take characters. This is one that I usually do with my students. I'll take a character, like take character art from anything, from any anime you like, any show, put it in your Procreate, Photoshop, whatever, and break the hair down into shapes, right? Like find the shapes. And the more you do that, the more you'll find, oh, this isn't as complicated as it looks, right? Like you're looking and go, oh, if I just break it into these shapes, it looks complicated because you don't see the underlying structure. You see the final product. If you break it down into what makes it up into that hairstyle, you'll go, oh, that's not so, oh, I get it, right? That's how it works. So I highly suggest you do that. Well, I had a great time with this one.
Me too. I'm excited for everybody who is going to follow along with me on my own art journey, which is going to be starting in February. I've already got a good group of people who are going to join me and use my skill tree and all that kind of stuff. So when we do it on Patreon, we've got a special tier for this that we're going to like continue throughout, you know, the course of the upcoming months. And I'm excited about it because we're going to be starting from the very, very beginning. So I won't have to use, I'll be having templates and stuff, but they'll be my own templates because we're going to learn about shapes and the fundamentals and then move on to cool stuff like this. So I'm really excited about that. And every time we do a class, I'm even more excited to go all the way back to the beginning and start so that I can get those fundamentals. So then I can do this cool stuff as well. So I'm very excited about that. Um, and yeah, so one more class tonight. We're going to be doing the line art portion of that Hugo piece from yesterday, which is going to be super fun. And then we've got a full day of events tomorrow, 3 more events. But by that time, the Kickstarter will be open. So I'm going to put the link here one more time, just like I always am going to do at the end of the events. So thank you to everybody who has already signed up and endures me posting this link over and over again. You're the real MVP because you're already on there ready to go. So thank you guys so much.
And if you're new, by
Yeah.
the way, be sure to jump into our server. If you're not already in this is usually during these events, we open it to the public. So this is your time to join in before we close it at the end of each event. We have a really awesome community. You can tell from our really awesome fans that we have here who are just, we see them all our lives. They're so supportive. We have a great time with them. And there's some really great people in here. So you are so welcome to come join our Discord server if you want to make some friends, share your OCs, learn about Flux Fantasy, do RPing. We have this like elaborate RP room system. We have these called slice games that are a lot of fun. So come check out and see. So, all right. So we will see you guys in 5 hours. We'll see you at 6:30 Central. We'll be doing the night show, which will be a lot of fun. I'm excited. Got music playing. I will do a nice cleanup, very nice cleanup of this other one. So, all right, guys. Have a great afternoon, and we will see you tonight. Keep drawing.
Bye.